Did you ever hear the legend of the mighty giant Finn McCool? Or the story of the brothers who turned into wild geese? Or the man who rescued his wife from a fairy enchantment? W.B. Yeats' classic collection of Irish myths and legends, tales of witches, fairies, giants, and people of the otherworld, draws on the glorious storytelling tradition of Ireland. Okay, now let's reflect. And this one is a book pick for March. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're okay, I hope everything is going well over there. Here, this week I wanted to talk a bit about books. I have some things to share with you. I haven't done my February wrap-up of my readings, and also I haven't shared with you the Read or DNF'it Reading Challenge results. So I do have that to share with you. I also have the March book picks, which this month it was my daughter that picked the books from the jar. So she picked the 4 readings for this month. So I have started to use something that I heard so much about, and finally I had the courage to try it out. So it's Notion. I don't know if you have heard about it, but I'm sure you must have, because there are a lot of people using it and sharing things about it here on YouTube. I have been trying it out. It has been a week. I have received the email from them saying that I have been on Notion for a week now. I'm enjoying it. I'm updating it every day. It's fun. So you will see a bit about that here on this video. Then I have some footage of some unboxing that I made also with my daughter. We got a promotion on children's books in a Portuguese editor, so the books are all in Portuguese for her and for me as well, but for her mostly. So I will be sharing this with you also, not just the unboxing, but I will speak a bit about them because there are a few well-known authors in there. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is a bit of some imagery of a short field trip that I made last week. So it's not too far away from here, but it's a part of the city that usually I don't go. A few years ago I worked near that area, so it was more frequent to pass through, but now it's been a few years and now it's been repurposed for other things, for other projects, and then we thought it would be fun to go and get to know the place. I hope you like it. It's a very industrial look kind of thing. I enjoyed it so much. I already have shared a bit on Instagram, so if you want to go and watch some reels over there, you can find some of the footage there, but I wanted to include it in this week's video. Oh, and I'm sick again, so kind of great. Another cold. Thank you. It's not COVID, but after 2 years in lockdown, and then COVID finally struck after we got vaccinated, and now I think we are kind of catching everything that goes around in the air, so I have a cold again. I'm so happy about it. I hope you come along with me. Good morning. It's been a while since I've waken up at 6, but I couldn't avoid it today because I'm not feeling very well, so I wasn't unable to sleep. Let's go to work. I guess I'll do an ASMR video today. Yesterday I decided to try out Notion. I have been using Trello for a few years now, but I find it a bit limiting. It's a good visual aid for things that I want to do, but it doesn't have a lot of specifics. I have been working on setting up Notion with the information that I find useful. I have made some changes, some bold changes for me. I have put Notion in charge of a lot of things that I usually did on paper. I want to try it out. I want to try Notion and see if it makes it easier to see everything, just one tool instead of having Trello and then spreadsheets all over the place. So let's see. Yesterday I was working on my tools. I have been working on setting my important stuff here. Usually I do it like this, kind of blocks, but I will change this for Notion and see how I feel about it. It's already daylight. I have been taking some time off my usual things, from my routines, that work that I always do every week. I was a bit unsure if that work gave me the added value that it requires, because we do something every week and we think that maybe the efforts we put into it are worth it. That's why we keep doing it. But then after a few years, I don't know, I guess it's not a direct connection between the effort and value, and sometimes I feel it's better to take a kind of a break than to keep going. I'm sure if that's the right direction. I can't say that I have came to any conclusion about that, but I feel a bit more motivated to do those things, like the weekly newsletter, for example. I do have an objective behind it, so it's not just putting these things, these mind tools out there. It definitely isn't just for reminding people of the previous blog posts, for example, and videos from last week, because a newsletter is something that it's just for subscribers, It's just for Portuguese blog subscribers, and I send it out every week. It's a manual thing, so I'm not doing it in advance. I really want it to reflect my reality. It has to correspond to that week, not a few days ago, so it's the most updated I can make it. But then I don't have kind of a feedback, and I do like to give that kind of inside information for people that follows my blog, because there are things there that I don't post anywhere else, and it's kind of I don't know, I think it's kind of fun to give people that usually read my blog, to give them access to other things. I want to talk to you about a few books that I bought for my daughter. So they are not quite for her age, except for one, which is this one, which is kind of a more generic book. So in English it's Tell Me Why. It's formulation of questions and answers about things in life, different things, how we are born, why do we have siblings, why we should not lie, stuff like that. Original title: Dis pourquoi les grandes questions des petits enfants by Charlotte Rossettet. She was very interested in it. She has a lot of questions. She's in that age where she has a lot of questions about the world, things that usually I don't know how to answer, like, Mommy, look at all those stars. There are a lot of dead people. Where do we go when we die? And I told her, oh, we became a star in heaven. But then she took it literally. So I need help explaining some things to her, even if the answer most of the time is, I don't know really. The second is a Jostein Gaarder book. Let me go on Goodreads and scan this cover. This is weird. This says Jostein Gaarder, and here says it's Stephanie van Orman. Did they mess it up? Or is it a pen name? Let me check the Portuguese version. But it's two different books. The third book is a book by Jerry Spinelli. Loosely translating this is The Girl from the Stars. So it's a modern fairy tale about Stargirl, a dreamy girl which becomes the center of attention in a new school and is struggling to be accepted there. I think this would be a good book for her in a few years. This one, O Mar dos Murmúrios by Tim Bowler. Sea of Whispers by Tim Bowler. This is a review, not a synopsis of the book. So, a small boat containing a frail old lady is shipwrecked on a small island, and many of the inhabitants react negatively to the new arrival. In this review, she says, this is a bit of an odd story that I felt didn't really go anywhere, but it was reasonably well written. Someone says, perhaps I would have enjoyed this book if I was still a teenager. Okay, this one was one that I bought for her, but not for now. And then the last one, Neil Gaiman, of course. Odd and the Frost Giants. It has 67 editions. The winter isn't ending. Nobody knows why. And Odd has run away from home, even though he can barely walk and has to use a crutch. Out in the forest, he encounters a bear, a fox, and an eagle, 3 creatures with a strange story to tell. Now, Odd is faced with a stranger journey than he had ever imagined. A journey to save Asgard, city of the Norse gods, from the frost giants who have invaded it. It's going to take a very special kind of boy to defeat the most dangerous of all the frost giants and rescue the mighty gods. Someone cheerful and infuriating and clever. Someone just like Odd. I do enjoy Neil Gaiman's works, so I will try and introduce him to my daughter. I have a few notes of stuff I want to share about my reading challenge, so I don't forget anything, and to see if I finally can manage to do a whole video without messing up any book title, because that's a thing for me. My brain just switches things. And my book picks for February were The Darkest Fire by Gina Showalter, The Iron Queen by Julie Kagawa, The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, and Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I wasn't quite thrilled with these picks, mainly because I don't think that the shortest month in the world would contain Infinite Jest and any other book. Second, because I don't know, I was not in the mood for it. So when these books came, I do think you can notice on my face on the video where I did my pickings for February. I think you can see it in my face that I'm not thrilled about them. But nevertheless, it was the books that I picked. So, and this challenge serves exactly that. So if I don't want to read them, I will DNF it, and that's okay. That's not a problem. I don't have to have the pressure or have a million books started and then feel guilty because I can't read them until the end because I don't feel like it. So that's okay. It's what this challenge is for. It doesn't mean that in a few years or a few months from now I don't pick them up again, because something that I know is that books kind of find us in the best times. So when we need something from a book, he kind of goes around and comes to our hands without we doing much for it. February I thought I should start with the easiest one of them all. So I started with The Darkest Fire by Gina Showalter. It's a short story, but as with other books by Gina Showalter, I ended up reading this one and a few more after, so I haven't... It wasn't a bad book pick. It was a very good, because it's a fun read, it's a light read, and in February I was looking for reads that didn't require much emotional strength, because life has been hard enough. Let's not bring it to books also. So I ended up reading The Darkest Fire, The Darkest Prison, and The Darkest Whisper. And then I stopped. I don't know quite well why, but I think it was because I thought I must read the other ones, so let's not go into this rabbit hole and read all of Gina Showalter's in one sitting. I started The Raven Boys, and I had so much trouble keeping myself focused on this story. It has nothing to do with the story. I just think I'm not in the good place for this, because this is YA. I don't know, it has something that it's not appealing to me at this point. So this one, I didn't want it. I still have the document open on my computer because I'm not willing to give it up entirely, but truly I stopped reading it a few weeks ago, so we are now in March. So I think this would be my second DNF'it book for this month and of this challenge. I decided to stop stalling because I was stalling with The Raven Boys. I was unable to move to another book, to start another book, when I couldn't finish reading this one. So I started to read The Iron Queen from the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. I took my time with it. The Iron Queen was a fun book, but I was already... it has been a few years since I read the two previous ones. So this is the third book in the series. I did recall some things. I did recall the main characters and some of the previous challenges. So I ended up liking a lot of what was in this book. And it kind of moved me in the end, so it's a good book. It's a good story. I have already started The Iron Knight because I'm interested in seeing how this will work out. Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I have started this book a few years ago. I do think this is a kind of a masterpiece from what I have read, but it's a bit dense for me at this time. So I have a few things going on here in my life, and even though sometimes these books are a kind of an eye-opener or helping us accept that there are some things in the world that work badly and will always work badly, and sometimes it's just too much to add to our plate when we have something hard, difficult, painful going on. It's hard to put one more dense and introspective and heavy thing in our reading plate, because we are already full of that in the real life. So, and reading must be fun. There are some times in which we are better suited to handle a more complex book. It's not the case now. I remember I have struggled a bit with it back in the day when I started reading it, because it has very long phrases. It has a lot of ideas behind each phrase. You have to have an attention span to what you are reading, so that you know to what he's referring, because he's quite a satyr, kind of sarcastic about it, about lots of things, and it kind of portrays real life situations. So there are a lot of things in our life that we see, oh okay, this is representing something that is real, that happens, even if it is making us laugh because it seems absurd. But this happens in some situations. So I wasn't feeling very introspective. So I decided to DNF it, and maybe one day, I hope not too far from now, maybe one day I am able to get back to it and read it fully, because I did think, from what I have read, I did think it was a masterpiece. It is something that it's good to be read with care and appreciated.
Quatro. Por favor. Aí. Põe aqui as letras. Baixa.
So this month I had my daughter helping me doing my book picks. I thought it would be fun, and she wanted to help, so I gave her the jar and she just picked 4 books for me to read. She wanted to pick them all, so I had to stop her. No, it's just 4, please. So she picked one that I have already told you about, Fairy Tales of Ireland by W.B. Yeats. So this one was a gift. It was a Christmas gift, and it came from Ireland. So I have already started it. Of course, if not, it wouldn't be in this challenge. But I was taking it really slow. So March it is. Yes, it is a small book, but I don't read stuff like this in a speedy pace. So I like, this is extremely short stories, everything fairy magical related. They have been collected by Yeats, and I think they deserve to be appreciated. And when I read these kinds of things, I like to pay attention to some details, because that's where sometimes we get our ideas for our stories from. Even if we don't write in this genre, it's something that I always like to pay attention to. The Joy of Christmas Present by L.G. Rollins. Some time ago, the thought came to me to create a trilogy based on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. However, in making one book become 3 stories, a single fact became immediately clear. This would not be a retelling in the truest sense of the word. This is not a book about a grumpy old man who is visited by spirits in the middle of the night and awakes the next day a better individual. Instead, I decided to take the essence of the 3 spirits and write one story around each one of them. Okay, now I'm interested. Okay, I had already taken it out and started reading it, and I clearly was interested in it. I had read Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol a few years ago. I have seen multiple iterations of it, but this is interesting. And if she mentions Jane Austen, I'm in. The 3rd book, Feng and Shui by Eddie Wong. So, this book is a book I have in my application of books on my... A few years ago I was very interested in Feng Shui, and I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it doesn't matter, you know what it is, I think Feng Shui, I don't know. And I started to read a bit about this practice, so this way of living. It's cultural based, oriental in its essence. So, and I started to read about it and try to use some of its principles, especially in my home. So I started this book, but I didn't finish it, as it's with all of the books in this list for this year. The fourth pick for March is Sleeping with Paris by Juliette Sauvanet. I am truly, I'm not conflicted about this. I started reading this book and I kind of didn't like it. I don't know, it feels a bit too vain for my taste. I wasn't enjoying this book. It felt callous, and what's the point on all of this? I don't know. I don't know if I will pick it up, or if I will, it's just to confirm that I will DNF it permanently. It is what it is. Editing here, because I saw that I forgot to mention something. I think I should have a reward for DNF'it. Thinking about it, I think my reward should be for DNF'it and not for reading it, because it's more hard for me to DNF'it than to stick with it. To DNF'it, I have to have the courage to say no, I will stop here, I will not pick it up. These are my bookshelves over there in the reflection. So, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it entertaining. Please let me know if you have read any of these books, if you like them, if it's something that you recommend. Meanwhile, I hope everything is okay over there. I hope you are doing well. And I thank you for watching this, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it would mean the world to me. And thank you so much. Bye bye.